So this is third person and first person point of view switching for Kingdom Deliverance 2. So I'm using Steam's controller settings to do this. The basic rundown of the configuration, we've got a first person default control set. The only thing in this one is the right bumper double press hits F3, which is our shortcut in the user.cfg that binds to the third person camera, and it turns on the third person action layers. So it's an action set configured here as a layer of the first person. So when you double tap right bumper, you press F3, it goes to the layer set, and in that layer, right bumper is now changed to call F2 and remove the layer. So if you double tap right bumper again, it will go back to first person and remove this third person config. This third person config also has on the up and down key press that it'll do the same thing. It'll go to F2 and switch back to first person, so that if you access the map or the player menus, it goes back to first person. Otherwise, the UI doesn't really render. And this is the most important part in the joystick configuration. It's set to joystick mouse, and you really have to play with the mouse sensitivity and the horizontal scale. If this is too sensitive or not sensitive, not sensitive enough, when you rotate the camera in third person, it will not stay aligned with Henry's cursor marker in the middle. So right now I'm in first person facing this door, and I go to third person, and if I spin in a circle, you'll see that I stay synchronized for the most part. But you see the drift that occurred where now Henry's facing more to the left, but the door is straightforward. So if I switch back to first, you'll see I'm not aligned. That is what happens when these sensitivity settings are a little bit off. So you really have to play with these to figure out what works. And even then, we're kind of limited by, we can't use like decimal per, like, 41.5 or something. So you might still have some drifting that you'll have to live with. The other thing is, if you start fiddling with the controls and then you come back to the game, it will put your controls back to the default config. So you're gonna have to press right bumper to go into third, but you won't see a change, and then press it again. Just cycle it back to first, and then you'll be good. So here I'll align with the door again. I'll bring my camera the same way. And then I'll rotate around. And this time I'm a little closer to the door, so we're not as off as I was before. So I think that 40% has been working well for me. There is still a little bit of drift, but that's kind of just the nature of this kind of solution, because the camera that we're using for third person is really just a debug tool. It's not really intended for this. So hopefully with the mod tools coming out, we'll be able to add proper third person support. But that said, if you do align it, it's pretty playable this way. Henry stays pretty well aligned, so now you can walk around a lot. You can run, do whatever, and
God be with you.
for the most part, you stay
and we'll stay friends.
facing the right direction. And this works pretty well on horseback as well, if I can remember. Yeah, A is mount. But when you mount and dismount, same thing with going between first and third. Mounting and dismounting the camera does not stay aligned, so you gotta align it. But once you're aligned, you should be okay. You can navigate through here. There. So So it's still pretty playable
Nice
for
and
horses
slow.
as well. But you do have to align the camera, which is a little annoying. But once you've done it, you know, if you stay in third person,
Whoa!
except of course for mounting and dismounting, because he likes to rotate on his own. But yep, there you have it. And then I'll show you if you go into the menu, it's going to switch back to first. So I'll have to go back out. But that's pretty much it. Okay, to install controller mappings for Steam, I've got the URL. So if you have a URL for a config, you should be able to paste the config URL. It should prompt you to open Steam, and that should open, well, mine didn't open anything. So if that doesn't work, the other thing you can do, as long as your when your controller's plugged in, you should see this icon. If your controller's not plugged in, you won't see it. So with that icon here, you should be able to go in here and then go to community layouts or search. And I've added this layout as this one here, Kingdom Deliverance to KCD, first, third POV switcher. So you should be able to find it there, and you can apply the layout that way if the URL doesn't open it up.